is everything in the Bible an allegory? Because technically, he says that Jonah couldn't have been swallowed by a whale because a whale's throat is a fist in length or width. I mean.
Yeah.
You see that fly?
Uh-huh.
He mad.
Yeah. Well, they say that the throat of a whale is not large enough to swallow a human. Now, of course, I know he carried him in his mouth, and he didn't drown, none of that stuff like that, and he was able to breathe. And, the funny thing is they don't really say how long was Jonah in there. Now, how long can you breathe underwater? You know what I'm saying?
He was inside the belly of the whale.
A belly of a whale. Think about that. If you're inside of a belly of a whale, how long are you going to be able to breathe?
Don't know. I've never been inside of a belly or anything. I used to think about that when I was little, though. I said he must have been in there with a lot of food or something. When I was little, it said, it was a song, a church song. Jonah got caught in the middle of the sea. All this trouble on account of me. Throw me overboard. I gotta hide in place. I gotta hide in place.
Now think about hide where at? Where you going to hide at?
In the belly of the whale.
Okay, so you're going to hide in the belly of the whale. And how long are you going to hide in there? For how many minutes can you survive in the belly of a whale without no air? I know that the whale don't have any internal organs and all that other stuff like that. I mean, it's hollow on the inside, and it's big, so you can stand up inside the whale and you can, move around.
Oh,
and walk.
You're being funny, huh?
You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
I don't think everything was meant to be taken like literally, though. There's a lot of parables in the Bible.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Now, how real could that be? Or is it an allegory to try to get you to see something? Talking about something that was spiritual, right? In other words, Jonah was part of something larger than what he really was, than what he can actually really see. Because I think he was going to the city of Nineveh. And he didn't want to go there because he didn't like the people, and those people didn't like them. You know what I'm saying? In other words, he was of a different nationality than what those people were, and they didn't like one another. But the problem is that it's sort of like cousins. You know what I mean? Cousins that can't get along with one another. They're always fighting about something. You know what I'm saying? You're the same people, but you're always fighting, right? Y'all got a family feud going on. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what I see what's happening.
What are we feuding about? What in the world is there to feud about?
Well, we make up things to feud about.
Because you're getting old and you're dying, so you're mad. You're mad at everybody.
Well, how does that make you mad? But no, if we're fighting with one another, which we've always have done, look at what the world is going through, all because we've been fighting with one another. All over the world, we've been doing this, right? Family feuds, bloodlines, fighting over nonsense, right? And so that's what Jonah's problem was. He didn't want to go speak to a particular people because he didn't like them.
So you assume that he was of a different nationality. There's only as far as I know, there's only one culture that is hated amongst all, and that's us. So why didn't they want him around?
The question was, why didn't he want to go to those people? You see what I'm saying? So when he finally actually really did do what he was supposed to been doing, those people were.
Oh my God, what is that?
It's a squirrel. I've seen it a long time ago. It's a squirrel.
Man, he's pretty too, y'all.
Yeah.
But that's like a multicolored squirrel.
Mm-hmm. Not like the squirrels back home, huh?
As soon as I show y'all the squirrel, he gonna run. I ain't never seen no squirrel look like that though. He got white and black.
Mm-hmm. You know, they have to mutate to where they are.
Let me see if I can catch him. The squirrel.
I mean, Jonah is such a, it's child's play.
What do you mean?
That's what they talk about. That's what they teach the children in the Sunday schools when they're growing up and stuff like that. You know, tell them little allegories about things and stuff. You know, it was, and I don't want to use the word. See, people going to use it. They're going to read that, and they're going to start talking about, he went to the people and he preached the word of God and they got saved and all this other stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't really think of it like that. That he went to go tell somebody something and it saved them. Yeah, you changed your ways. You know what I mean? For instance, Islam, and we use the word Islam, but what was it before it was called Islam? It was a way of life before it was called Islam. It was a way of life before it was called Christianity. It was a way of life before it was called, Buddhism. Whatever it is that we're claiming. It was something before it became that. Because if they claim that Abraham was, Ibrahim. In Islam, they're not going to call him Abraham, right? It's the same individual, or the same entity, should I say. There was nothing in there that says that he was practicing Islam, right? But what you do find in the Quran, when it talks about the people of the book, right? And then when you find it in the scripture, they say that howbeit that those not having the law did the things that were contained in the law, not having the law. Okay, so before Abraham, what was the law? And before Terah, what was the law?
Abraham, your favorite character in the Bible, huh?
One of. I mean, you can talk about Abraham.
We talked about him for a long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a focal point of a particular family that they talk about, right? Now, it's sort of like, in actuality, when you really think about it, the book of Genesis is an added book. The real history doesn't really begin until Exodus, really. So somebody created the narrative of Genesis to create a story to put themselves into the history. You see what I'm saying? So before Abraham was, Jesus, Isa, as we can say Jesus. Isa said before Abraham was, I was, or I am, right? Now, how could that be? You know what I'm saying? Now, who put that in there? That narrative in the scriptures to say that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's a crew right behind the camera.
Uh-huh. They got a nest over there or something. Yeah. But yeah, who put that narrative? For instance, let's look at it like this. In the book of Genesis, it talks about Abraham and his firstborn son. His firstborn son was who? Ishmael, right? By the Egyptian woman, Hagar, whom we call Hajj, right? And then later on, he has a son by his first wife, Rebecca. And then it says that he was the only begotten son, right? I believe that's what it was. How all of a sudden did Isaac become your only begotten son when your first son was Ishmael? So the question is who wrote that like that?
So he can claim the first son by
No.
the black lady.
Well, both the women were black. They were both black women, or what we call Asiatic women, right? So you
Tadpoles.
no, those are fish, not tadpoles. So how is it that Abraham? Now this would be just to imply that he didn't want to claim the son by the black woman. Well, what color would that make Sarah then? So she wasn't a black woman.
Sarah.
Mm-hmm. Now you remember they supposedly are coming out of the land of Ur, of Chaldea, which is supposed to be ancient Mesopotamia, right? Which is Canaanite, really. All right. So when they say Hebrew and all this other stuff like that, really Hebrew is actually really Canaanite script, right? From the god El.
You know, I don't know if you've seen Damar. Nana posted some guy. I don't know where he was, but he was going around saying he was Jesus. And then the after effects of was his face getting beat in by some Islam or whatever it was, Islam people dressed in their attire. His face was beat down bad.
Because some guy said that he was Jesus.
Ready to get up?
And he got beat up by who?
I guess some Islam people dressed it, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they have when they have their jihad on or jihad.
Yeah, you're talking about turbans and stuff like that. Well, you was over in a strange land, probably. You know, they don't accept that everywhere. You know, however, Islam, ISF law and master. You know, the form of what we call submission, peace. How can you have peace with everyone if you're fighting everyone? You know what I mean? So in Islam, more science, we accept all the prophets. Okay?
You need to do,
So-
or I need to do a study on the women, because they never focus on the women. They only focus on the women for like being the birth machine, but they don't ever talk about the famous Bible women. So we need to do a
Such
little.
as?
Can we do a little? You never finished your series on the lies we've been told, so you got to finish that. So I'll just make that my little task. Do a short little series on the women of the Bible.
Mm-hmm. That'd be very interesting
But
to
for
see
now-
how many women in the Bible were actually used in anything.
We'll talk to you guys later. Later, Gator. See where we are?